Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the first Games Cage Dispatch. That's right. Smash Dispatch has been murked. It's dead. It's gone. Never to be seen again.
Yeah. So we figured, like, we're still obviously going to talk about Smash-related stuff when news is relevant. You know, like, especially with the pro circuit that's officially going to happen later. We'll get more info. But I think, you know, it's best New Year. We don't want to, like, limit ourselves to just one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like what we discussed is, like, this could just be, like, a upcoming news, like, discussion sort of thing that we can sort of keep going and have more regularly. We don't have to be like, oh, you know, what topic do we cover? Because there's always going to be some new news coming out about a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And, like, yeah, that's what I was thinking with this show. Because obviously people like, you know, I feel like there's 3 tiers of shows on the YouTube. It's the Games Cage podcast. There's the solo videos where I talk about, you know, whatever new news for stuff is out there, and there was always Smash Dispatch, but that was always me and Ultimate talk about topics. So I figured we'd keep the spirit of us talking about topics because people really like that, and I think it's definitely gonna be a good time. We're gonna this way, that way, like, yeah, we could talk about Smash, but we could also just talk about whatever. It doesn't even have to be news. It could just be like, I don't know, our favorite socks in games or whatever. But yeah, I wonder if someone's ever done a tweet about that, probably. But yeah, no, so the whole thing is, so this week I figured we would talk about Pokemon in 2022 because I feel like this year it's a weird year because obviously last year was the 25th anniversary, right? So now we're sort of...
was it 25th or 30th? It was one of those.
It was 25th, right? Because it's 1990.
Yeah, okay.
1996, yeah. But yeah, no, so last year we had 25th anniversary. We had Diamond Pearl. We had, we had new Pokemon Snap. We had a few things. But yeah, going into this year, I just want to talk about what we think is going to happen, talk about the stuff we know about, like Arceus Legends, how we think that's going to go and stuff like that. So let's start with, obviously, Arceus Legends, because that's the known quantity. And we are now...
It's coming out at the end of the month, which is crazy.
It
feels like it came by so fast.
Yeah, we're 3 weeks away. If you remember, like, this game was actually announced like in February last year. Then it went completely silent for like 6 to 7 months. You're like, where is this? And even Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. And then they had that like other Pokemon Direct where they finally gave us info. And I feel like that second presentation was a big deal for people because I feel like the first time they revealed it was like, okay, this is cool. This is the ambitious thing we wanted, but it looks super, super rough. And when they re-showed it, that's when it sort of looked like, okay, this is what this game is, and it's looking much better, you know?
Yeah, I mean, again, like, I think with the initial idea when people saw Legend Arceus, people were like, oh, wait, this is something that we've really wanted for a while. This is really new and interesting. And then as people started looking at the footage, it was like this sort of like, you know, the cracks started to show where it's like, this is low res, this is like 2 frames, blah, blah, blah. But again, you know, game footage, not final. So I'm glad that the sort of second showing really elevated it. It's really showing like this is what, you know, we are trying to go for. And I think like, a lot of people, you know, myself included, I think we're very cautiously optimistic. I think, like, the big thing for me about this game is I feel like there is a lot riding on it because this is very ambitious and a different direction than what Game Freak usually does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird, right? This game is so weird to me because, like, it is a big deal, right? But it's like, it is weird how we know a lot, but I feel like we don't know a lot. You know what I mean? Like we know, I feel like we've gotten so much info about this game through like the weirdest ways possible, where it's like a Spanish interview revealed that it hasn't even been officially revealed like by Pokemon Company that like the way you go out on missions is like Monster Hunter. We found that out through like some interview. You know, I don't think we have yet to like see that like footage of you selecting.
So I think we're at a point now where they've really dumped a lot of info about like the world itself. Like these are the people of the world, here's the Pokemon, this is what you can, these are like the gadgets and stuff like that. And I think like that is cool to me in one sense because like really if you think about Pokemon, they've never really cared about like lore in the games. Like in the sense of like, there's Pokemon, there's like a little bit of world building, but it never felt like that was their main push in like especially with marketing. And this time it really feels like they are trying to build the world up for once because it's like this is the ancestors of people that you see later, and like this is like how people were in this like feudal time in Sinnoh and the legends, and like again, like it's really cool because a lot of what people I think like from external Pokemon media, like meaning like the anime, the shorts that they upload, like
manga.
People love the world building, like people interacting with Pokemon. It feels like they're really trying to push that, like in this game for once. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. And obviously we've seen a few of these Hisuian forms, which have been really cool so far. Like I really love the Growlithe. I like the what's the other one we have? We have the is it Zoroark? Is he the one?
Yeah, Zoroark, which was a big one. They did Voltorb was the last one that they showed off.
Voltorb was a very funny one
because, like, again, the Pokeballs would be different back then, so it makes sense.
Yeah, we have the Basculin with like the dead spirits of his people.
Yeah. So it definitely feels like, and then again, like the way that that Pokemon, like you have like those alpha Pokemon that are like the rage mode and the stuff that they can attack you. Like they've showed like from the little gameplay trailers and commercials we've got, they've like emphasized that Pokemon can attack you personally.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really feel like Diamond and Pearl was sort of like this is for just like the younger core fans. And then this feels like it's going to be something that's more for the older audiences who've wanted something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because even, again, like something we haven't seen much of, the combat system, right? We know it's active, right? We know where like there's like a time bar going on as you're attacking.
Yeah,
in that sense.
So like on the website, it says like you'll be able to enter combat seamlessly. You just throw your Pokeball out. Yeah. And then like it looked like it has, there's like the two styles. Like you can like, it's sort of like you do a thing, they do a thing, but then you could be like, I think it's agile style where you can go faster, but you do less damage, or you can do like a power style, which is like you do more damage, but it's slower. Yeah. So it feels like it is more like a Final Fantasy or like a Chrono Trigger where you have like an action bar as opposed to being turn-based, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I feel like, again, like the big thing about the game is, I feel like the good thing about it being at the end of this month is there has to by this week or by like, I'd say like next week, most likely have like some preview event that the press have seen or like some presentation to give us like, because we have yet to just see like, here's 5 minutes of gameplay.
How do you play the game? Yeah, like just like a five things you need to know sort of thing. Like, I think that's also like one of the reservations that people are having is just because we don't really know too much about the structure. Like we know the gameplay, like that. I think the basic gist of the gameplay is like, you know, you're going out in this world. You are they're actually pushing like you're a researcher this time. And you're trying to complete the Pokedex for the Galaxy Expedition team. Yeah. And then they were like, you can do crafting to make stuff, and you have to sort of like figure out how to get the Pokemon. But that like that doesn't explain like the point A to point B, like what will you be doing?
Yeah, like because again, like we know, right, that it's like Monster Hunter style where you select a mission, you go out. Does that mean like I have like in Monster Hunter I have the option to just free roam a map and that's sort of the open world aspect of it? It's like
under like trainer ranks where I can only do submissions at this part.
Yeah, are there trainer battles? I don't think so, right? We know there's no. I don't know if we know there isn't.
Actually, I was surprised because I had no recollection of this or them ever saying this. On the actual website, they bring up that there are some people who will challenge you to battle.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not the main focus. I believe they said like there are wardens that are like throughout the map that will like challenge your skills. Right. But it is not like the main focus of the game. You know what I mean?
Because I assume, this is a world before it's established of Pokemon training as like a sport, you know, as like a thing, which again, really cool lore-wise and stuff. But yeah, it would make sense that there's leaders, that there's even maybe like evil, like maybe you go in a cave and you find like a tribe of people that like do Pokemon battles. Like that stuff would be really cool. It's just like, again, this is what's so, it's again fascinating and scary because I feel like we should know more about this big thing that's coming out very soon. But at the same time, like, again, I feel like this is, for them, I feel like this is a first attempt at something. And I do think there is going to be some rough patches, some weird stuff about it. But, and again, it's going to sell well. People have been hyped for this. People really want this.
Right, yeah. It's more a matter of less about sales and more of, like, reception to me, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, I think like there are two reasons for, like you said, why they're like not really going super detailed on the gameplay. I think one, like again, it is a new thing for them, And I think I think because of that, I don't think they have like the full confidence in like, they don't want to show off and give people the wrong impression.
Yeah.
And also I think they want to make it sort of surprising for people in a sense too, because it is new.
Right.
But again, like we've seen just before with like Game Freak, like Sun and Moon and Black and White, right? Like if you looked at their sales, like compared to other video games, it's like, yeah, they still sold decently well for what they were.
Yeah.
But the reception wasn't as high because they sort of did a lot of different things.
Right.
And because of that initial reception not being like the best, they sort of went like retrograde and they try to like push more Kantos over. They would go back to on their roots.
And we also knew everything about those games before they came out. Like I remember like, Sun and Moon had like 1 trillion trailers like every week.
And just a lot of big leaks. Like luckily nothing really big is leaked for this as well. But what I'm saying is like, I just want to, like, again, there's going to be rough patches because it's their first attempt. But what I'm hoping is like, they take this as a learning lesson and we get another Pokemon Legends blah blah blah, which or another game that like adapts this style. It could just be like another mainline game that just uses this style straight up. You know what I mean? But I want them to use this as like a building block and like a learning point, as opposed to, oh well, people were lukewarm on this, so we're never gonna try it again. Because I think there's a lot of like the opportunity is golden here, because this is a style people have like dreamed about.
Of course,
sort of,
and I mean, speaking of that, right? Like you said, mainline title, and I've seen people I don't think it's realistic, but like I've seen people theorize and say that we might get a Gen 9 announcement, and it's like, it's weird because like, what now? This year is what, 3 years since Sword and Shield, or is it 4?
Yeah, and then I think because also they had the DLC stuff, which also came out like 2019.
Right. Yeah. So this year will be 3 years since Sword and Shield.
Yes.
So it's like, I know some people have this idea that like, yeah, there could be that, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, it's like that. It would feel crazy to me. I feel like if they do announce it, it's not going to be until like maybe later this year, because they want Arceus Legends to sell. But like, I don't know. Like,
I think Pokemon, I feel like especially recently with the anniversary, they pushed like a lot of spin-off stuff.
Yeah.
And then they had like, here's your Diamond Pearl. But like, I think I'd be kind of remiss if they did Gen 9, because I feel like what I'm ultimately kind of sort of low-key expecting is Arceus drops. Yeah, and that's going to be their main thing DLC for a while. And I feel like because it is the nature of this game, this sort of lends itself to a big expansion. Like even look at Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter always gets big expansions.
Of course,
it's getting one this year. Rise is getting one this year. So I feel like ultimately what they're probably going to do is, I feel like they're going to push a big expansion or more DLC for this game rather than jump into a Gen 9 right away. Because I think like,
I agree.
You can almost see the progression, right? I feel like you had Pokemon Let's Go, which had like the Pokemon in the overworld normally, right? Then you sort of got to Sword and Shield, which is, you had the wild area. And honestly, like the wild area was kind of meh. It was kind of empty and open for a lot of it. But you can tell like that was another step. Like we have to practice this
they gotta
open
practice,
area. And now we have Legend Arceus. So I feel like they'll push Arceus and do DLC for that, so they can sort of expand on it, build on it, and learn with it more. And then maybe we'll get a Gen 9 like a year, 2 years from now, which has a lot of stuff adapted from Arceus. That makes sense to me.
Exactly. Again, like it's like I really want Arceus like to do well, because again, like I said, it's like these like Pokemon's the biggest thing in the world. Like this thing thriving should make sense, like it is what it is there. And it's just like, I'm just praying that, like I said, I wouldn't mind a Gen 9 this year, but I don't think it will, because I think Gen 9's, I could be wrong. Is it when we're going to get Pokemon 1000? I assume. How many Pokemon are we at right now? Or was that like 2 gens away?
Aren't we at like 980 right now with like Calyrex? Like I think we're at like
we might be,
981 is Calyrex right now. 898 is Calyrex.
898, yeah. So there's a big chance that like if they do like 121 new Pokemon, that like the Pokemon 1K is like the big marketing deal that time around. Yeah. But man, it's like it's just like specific. So like on the idea of Gen 9, I feel like it's next year. I think it's like just that's 100.
Next year,
I think it's 100% next year.
Next year would just be a tease or like it's coming, and then it dropped like 2023 or 2024. I think.
Really?
I think
yeah.
I really think the game would drop in 24, and we'd have build up throughout 23. Because I just feel like
really think
this year they're just gonna try and push Arceus with DLC and expansions, and then there's gonna be like probably some. I'd imagine there's like some side game, some re-release that they put out or something along those lines.
Yeah. Again, I have a feeling next fall will be Gen 9, just because I think they have two teams usually, I think, that work on Pokemon stuff. Usually they have a team working on remake and main game. And remember, they didn't work on Diamond Pro. So there's a big chance there's just a big team that's been working on Gen 9. But we'll see about that. So, but yeah, for Arceus, like I said, hope it's really dope. Also, another thing is that I was so curious about with this game is like, what's the moment to moment gameplay just when you're, because we've seen clips of you running around on like the is it Stantler? Is that the
the word gear is like the evolution. We've seen you traversing the land, but I think like ultimately for me, I get like how it's like, oh, it's really cool you get to traverse the world and take in the sights, but I think like for someone like me, that's cool, but if what you're doing when you get there isn't like engaging, then it kind of feels like kind of falls apart. Right?
Exactly.
So I think like we've seen just like battles and catching. I just wonder like what more is there besides that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So it will be interesting to see. And also, I think the other thing that we don't really know about is like we've seen these different areas, right? Like there's like a lake and there's like a waterfall. Can I volcano. Just go there whenever, or is it like sectioned off? Like how exactly. How open is the world?
Because we've seen a picture of the map. Like we know there's distinct areas you can go to. But yeah, like I said, the way I see it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be like Monster. And yeah, we're like it's like not like yeah, it's sort of like a monster. I don't think you could be able to walk from point A to Z on the map. I feel like it's gonna be like area based almost. Again, I'd be happy if I was wrong, but I feel like that's going to be what it is there. And yeah, I wonder how it's gonna be structured. We know there's sort of boss fights because we've seen the Scizor, right? Is that
the alpha, and then and like the alpha Pokemon, which are like the rage ones. So so there are like
that's like the boss battle
fights, sort of. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see like. Again, because you have like the crafting system, you have like the camp stuff. Like a lot of the downtime is what I'm interested in, what you'll be doing. And I'm hoping the crafting system isn't like obtuse, because I hope that's because like honestly, like unrelated, but like the crafting system was something that like if you think about it in the context of like. I mean, I guess you had like stuff in Breath of the Wild, but it was more like I'm thinking more of like New Horizons. Like the crafting system is like a thing where you're like, oh, this is a cool idea, I can make whatever. But then in practice, it just becomes like super tedious and obnoxious, and I just don't want it to feel like that. You know,
the only time I ever like crafting is like when I just like I go in my inventory and I'm like, oh, I have all the stuff I need just because I was playing the game basically, and it felt natural. That's always what I liked about crafting systems. But yeah, no, so we'll see on that front. What do we think in terms of, obviously, spin-offs? I mean, Pokemon is very known for spin-offs and different things. Let's go by another thing that we know about / don't know about. Detective Pikachu, right? That was announced for Switch. Is this finally the year where we see this game? Or what do you, did it get canned?
I think, like, it's weird. Like, it almost feels like they announced that, like, super prematurely in the sense of, like... Here's the thing, like, I would be shocked if they didn't make a Detective Pikachu 2 to go with a movie. Right. Like specifically to go with a movie. Now, like, obviously the first game came out and then they just had the movie sort of loosely based around it later. But also, I think...
really, really weird. I feel like I've never heard about this, but I just Googled it and it says Detective Pikachu star says the film's sequel has been scrapped. Justice Smith and Detective Pikachu Desmond star of 2019 film Detective Pikachu says plans to the film. I never knew that.
They really got rid of they scrapped the sequel?
Yeah, I thought they were straight up just making. I thought they were making it. I didn't know they scrapped it. That's really weird.
Well, like, now that that came out, it's probably likely that the game isn't happening.
Yeah, no.
If you want to be weird, to be perfectly honest,
we know Netflix making a show, right? Yeah, Netflix is making a live action Pokemon show. That's what happened.
If that's happening, I feel like that would just be something like adjacent. Here's the thing, like again,
But
like
I'm
I think
with you.
the first Detective Pikachu, they just based the movie around it, and the movie came out later. But I think like because the movie was such a success when they announced Detective Pikachu 2,
Right.
I think like a lot of that
That's
game
so
was riding off
weird.
the movie.
Yeah,
And
no, that
because
that
of
changes
that,
everything. Yeah, I feel like it's gone
I
now.
think because the movie it seems to be scrapped for
Mhm.
now, I think they just sort of shelved the game because I think like they wanted to tie it in with the movie.
That's crazy. I like this is like
That
shocking.
was
I
very,
think
I heard
I've
nothing
never
about
heard
that.
anyone mention that this movie isn't happening. It just seemed like a no-brainer that it made money. It's a Pokemon movie. The next thing is gonna be bigger and better. Really, that's really unfortunate. Yeah. Odd. Okay. Well, yeah. I guess. Yeah. Now I'm with you. I think the Detective Pikachu game is scrapped. I feel like they're done with this project. If that's the case, but that's really unfortunate because like the live action Pokemon looked really cool and had cool ideas. That's really that's fucking.
Yeah, and
oh
the
my
first
God.
Detective Pikachu movie, I think, for what it was worth, I think it was really good. Like, there was a lot of moments that Pokemon fans liked because, like, they could have easily made it like a Gen 1 focused movie, and there was a lot of Gen 1, but they had a lot of unexpected Pokemon that people didn't think would show up.
Right.
And so, like, I think a lot of fans really like the Detective Pikachu
Of
movie.
course,
so it's
yeah,
kind of a
yeah.
shame that they're not going to follow up on that.
Yeah, no,
you know?
exactly. Well, because Detective Pikachu was like, for me, it was like almost Sonic movie level of just like where it's like, oh, like yeah, it's like we're here. This is how you do it. Now you just have to improve on the formula and make it a bit better. Like obviously, give me Pokemon battles. Don't give me this thing where it's like. We got a tease of it when they go to that like underground like
The
sort of bar
Colosseum,
fight.
yeah.
The Colosseum, but it's like make that the focus, and I assume whatever the Netflix show is going to have that. But yeah, so that's it for that. Obviously with Pokemon we have a million other things. I'm assuming Pokemon Unite is going to continue to get content, which is good. Like I'm really
Unite has
happy.
popped off like super hard, and I'm really happy. And I think like we played it a ton last year, and we took like a pretty good break from it. And then coming back recently, like the amount of polish that got put into it while we were gone is actually very surprising. And
Yeah, UI is
we've
better
been
and everything.
regularly keeping up content at a good pace to where it doesn't feel like, oh my god, there's a new Pokemon out every other day, where it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
But like also when you come back, like there's like enough content where it's like, oh, this is cool. They added blah blah blah. Like I think they've been handling the game surprisingly well. So what a turnaround on that. I'm very happy to see what else they bring to it. Like, I think right now I would just like probably like some more fun side game modes that aren't just like 5-minute matches or whatever.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
we'll see what they do with it.
Yeah, it's cool also for the winter event. I like that there's Articuno in the middle and not
they like
Zapdos.
re-upped the map with new graphics just for the season. Like it was really cool. Like they are improving the game a lot. So like definitely if you were someone who played at launch and wasn't feeling it, it's definitely better to come back to now.
Yeah.
And then what else? Like
what do you think about
I feel like
I'm looking at a list of this. What do you think about maybe in the fall this year we get a Let's Go Johto? Maybe that's like a fall next year thing, right?
I think Let's Go is a very good, like, I think Let's Go, a follow-up to Let's Go would be really, really fun. I think Johto doesn't really get a lot of love in my head. Like, when I think about, like, regions, like, Johto doesn't get as much attention as really...
Right,
as compared to other stuff recently. I mean, obviously, Heart Gold, Soul Silver were amazing, but that was so long ago. I think a Let's Go Johto would be a lot of fun because you have to also think about, like, honestly, what they could even do is, like, add Johto as an expansion to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because if you think about Johto, all of Kanto is in Johto.
Right.
Like, they could easily just, like, boom, Johto over to here. You know what I mean? Like,
I
agree. So
that.
I wouldn't mind that. I'm also, like, sort of interested to see if they want to bring back Pokken, because
Dude, I'd love
it feels like fighting games have, like, especially recently, like, fighting games are really back in the main focus. They've consistently been selling well. Pokken for the longest time was like, because it was like basically a launch title for a Switch, but even after that, it was like consistently like top 15, top 17 best-selling game on the Switch for like a solid
I think it sold
period.
2 million on Switch, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so
it's really good.
I think I would be remiss if they didn't use the opportunity to bring that back, especially because Namco Bandai Namco, they have such a good relationship with them, and a lot of new Pokemon have released that would be really cool to have in the game.
And I'm sure, like, I'm sure like a lot of obviously, like now that they're not working on Smash, I feel like they could get a lot more staff, you know, on a Pokken too. Because like Pokken is so like it's weird to me. Like I feel like I feel like I like the idea of a fighter that goes from 3D to 2D, but I feel like I'd rather it sticks to one. Like I feel like that structure is a little weird, and I don't want like the idea again is cool for like the assist Pokemon, but it feels like they're like it's too much. I just want a bit more because Pokemon deserves a fighting game. Absolutely. I mean, there's so many there's so many in Smash. There's so fun in Pokken, and obviously you Pokemon are fighting in that world. Yeah. So it's like I just want it to be like I want it to be a much bigger deal. You know, I want it to be either like you make it a 3D arena fighter, or you make it a straight up 2D game. You know what I mean? And I'd prefer like just a straight up 2D Pokemon game, even though like a lot of Pokemon lend themselves well to like a 3D environment. Unless I don't know, do you like the 2D 3D style?
I think that was, you know, I really enjoyed it from the sense of like this was unique. This really pushed it in a different direction that didn't make it feel like a bog standard anime fighter. Right. And I thought that you could do a lot of cool stuff with that idea, but I think ultimately it off-put too many people. Like, even though I thought it was cool and I enjoyed it from a uniqueness perspective, and like you don't have a game that does that. You don't have a good game that does that for a reason, because it put like again it weirds people out. Like you know, I think it is better. I think ultimately, if you want for sales and reception, like longevity of the game, I think it is better if it sticks to one or the other.
I agree.
I just really don't want it to feel like a generic anime fighter or like a generic blah, blah, blah. Like, and I think like Bandai Namco, for what it's worth, like you know, because Harada worked on that, you know, he does Tekken. Tekken doesn't feel like you're boxing an anime like fighter, even if it's just a 3D fighting game, you know. So I think like, you know, they have the right people to make it avoid those trappings. But still, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that ever gets brought back. And I feel like now more than ever, there's been a lot of push for like competitiveness. You know, even Nintendo itself is now pushing Smash competitively. So Pokemon has always pushed Pokken in their own circuit. So having a new one just seems like a no-brainer. But
I agree. I'd be done for a sequel or something new with it. So bring more of that. I'm looking at lists of spin-offs here. Obviously, you know, a big one, Mystery Dungeon, right? There was the remake.
Yeah, I mean, that Mystery Dungeon remake came out of nowhere, like, and just sort of dropped, and it was like one of the best games. Like, it was probably easily like probably one of the best games in the series, like period. Like, it was really well polished. It had a lot of content. They added a lot of content to it. They kept a lot of the story, like they kept a lot intact still. Right. And like for Mystery Dungeon fans, like that game was like so well received. Like. So it's interesting because like I think that game came out did that game come out?
It was 2 years. Like, it's 2 years ago now,
right?
No, I think it's 2 years ago now, right? Is it? Yeah, it's 2020. Yeah. It was March 2020, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it was right in there.
So it'll be interesting to see if they do like another remake of that style for like the next games in the series. Yeah. Which came after Red and Blue, because like a lot of the like, you know, those Explorers of Sky, Explorers of blah blah blah, those games are like even more like dearly held to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's always weird, like, because when a company makes a banger remake, right, they're in that weird position of like, okay, now do we make a sequel with what we've learned and stuff and make it awesome, or do we just continue to remake them? Because I feel like to me, like the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games are old enough that you can remake them, but I also feel like you could just make a new one that pops off. You know, I feel like a Switch original Pokemon Mystery Dungeon could do really well and could look really good and be even more expanded because it's not limited to like the mechanics and stuff of the older games. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how I feel there. I'm looking here, Pokemon Rangers. I mean, it's been so long since a Rangers game. I don't know if they'd ever do that.
I think the problem with the Rangers,
it was the stylus, right?
Well, I mean, obviously the Switch has a touchscreen, but when you're only in portable,
exactly.
And I feel like because we're in an era where Nintendo's just pushing the Switch so hard, and there's not really any, I don't even think they officially like said the 3DS is dead. They just sort of quietly discontinued it.
Yeah, they always do that. I
feel like our chance for a new Rangers would have been like, I think maybe 2017, 2018 pushing it. I think now it's not there. I think like, another thing people really want is another Stadium Coliseum style game. And I don't know. Like, here's the thing: if Pokemon Snap can come back like it did in such a really nice way, I think like there is a way for Stadium and Coliseum to come back. But I think
But
what
like,
the
right.
thing that happened, I think the biggest thing that happened was, and I think Game Freak has said this in some capacity, like the biggest appeal of those games back then was my Pokemon are in 3D. You have 3D
exactly. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
and now the
Yeah.
entire series is in 3D.
Yeah.
So to them, they don't see a reason to bring it back. You know what I mean?
feel like the only thing you can do now with that is just you remake it and bring it back. You know, like I don't think like it doesn't make sense to make a new Pokemon XD or DX or whatever. Yeah, because like you said, they that's what the games are now. So I feel like the only thing you can do to appease those fans by that point is just remake it. You know, or just like bring it back in an HD remaster.
Or re-release it, because like I think a lot of people would want to use their Pokemon like in it. Like that's a lot of the appeals. Like you could use like, oh, it has home integration, blah blah blah. Like just bring it back. Maybe just make it like a $20. Here's like a battle sim specifically for Pokemon, because like one of the biggest things from that Pokemon like fans use nowadays is Showdown. Like Pokemon Showdown, it's unofficial, but like. A lot of people use it. If Game Freak put out like, here's $20, here's our own official version of Battle Simulator, put in your own Pokemon, generate blah blah blah, test stuff. I think that would sell really well, but I don't think that's something they're really interested in, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking also. I mean, again, there's obviously the other. Is there sort of a new type of spin? Obviously, they're gonna have like a million mobiles, but I wonder like what's a new kind of spin-off we could see from what's something that series hasn't explored? Because I'm trying to think like I feel like a modern like a mini dash would be cool, like a mini racer where it is like the Pokemon are actually running across the field and stuff like that. Like that would be really cool.
Yeah, because I think like seeing Chocobo GP, the Square Enix like Final Fantasy racing game come out, like you have a lot of these like cute little funny creatures that are just going across the track, and I think like a traditional like a kart racing game or something along those lines, where like maybe you start off as the baby and then you go through the track, you evolve, you get new abilities to go on the course.
That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool.
Or like even like in Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, you had different types of characters. So it's like you had glide types who could like go over different sky routes, and then you had like strength types who could punch through different things.
Stuff,
you could do that with Pokemon. You could be like,
that'd be really cool.
Like strong type Pokemon can use rock smashing, take shortcuts and then flying Pokemon can like glide across parts.
That'd
you
be
could
sick.
do something like that.
Yeah. And again, like it would make more sense that the Pokemon run, because like if Pokemon don't all have hands, you know what I mean? They're not gonna be jumping on the wheel. But yeah, and the Logistic, I feel like Diamond, Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. Do you think there's gonna be like I think it's a no-brainer that like maybe later this year Platinum DLC, right? And then they just like that way they bring stuff that was in Platinum.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna see more support for Shining Diamond, Brilliant Pearl or whatever, because like we've already gotten some like updates just from patches and the like. So they are committed to like let's make the game better. They've had some events already where it's like get this code, get this Pokemon, blah blah blah. So I think they're gonna drop some updates for it and keep polishing it a little bit more and keep updating it with some new stuff. Now, does that mean I think like they're going to add a Battle Frontier? I don't think so, but I would I wouldn't mind. Like I think a lot of people want some of that Platinum stuff in there, so I hope they keep supporting it and they add some stuff. I think they will. I think like not enough time has passed for them to just completely drop it yet. Especially because like so much of that game is gonna tie into Arceus because it is Sinnoh. And then I guess like the ultimate thing on the horizon is it's the 10th anniversary for Black 2, White 2.
Oh, right, yeah.
People are obviously like, are we gonna get Gen 5 remakes?
No, it's not yet.
People don't want Gen 5. I think inevitability to me just says that they're
of
going
course
to
they
be
will.
Gen 5
of course,
remakes, whether
of
you like it or not. It just makes sense. They're going to do it. When though, I don't know, because like last year wasn't last year like also the 10th anniversary for Black and White, so like
The thing about Pokemon is they don't care about game specific anniversaries. I feel like they just do the remakes when they get to the remakes. They've been going game by game, you know. So I feel like we're gonna get Black and White like when we get Black and White. Now again, I don't know if they're counting like if they do like Let's Go Johto, does that count as a remake of Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or is it gonna be like the next thing we get right away is Black and White? I don't know how that's gonna work, you know what I mean? I don't know if
I feel like we're at a point where like I think we're due for like one or two more games like considered mainline games, like whether that be a Let's Go and a Gen 9 or a Blank and a Gen 9,
and then
or like even another Legends and a Gen 9 or something like along those lines, some combination. I feel like they're gonna save like they're gonna sort of lump in Black and White with whatever like the Gen 9 era stuff is. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. No, it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, I think last year because it was 25th anniversary, we got a bunch of stuff between spin-offs and the content stuff and the merch and Diamond Pearl and all this stuff. I feel like this year is gonna be Arceus, DLC, and one spin-off title and one mobile game that like we're not gonna play. So I feel like that's gonna be their year this year. But again, very fascinated to see. I feel like maybe we're gonna get a Pokemon Presents within a week or two.
I feel like we have to just to sort of wrap up more info about our season and sort of lead us into the year with some more stuff. Because again, Pokemon does its own thing nowadays, so I don't think we're gonna be hearing about stuff in the direct. They're gonna do their own Pokemon presentation, you know.
Yeah. So guys, let us know what you guys want to see from this year with Arceus and all this stuff. And of course, let us know what topics or things you want us to talk about on Gamescage Dispatch. And of course, we'll see you all next week. Peace out. Thank you for watching.
Peace.